Hey everyone, I wanted to do a full detailed reveal video for my latest overhaul of my redcat volcano EPX. Stock, it was brushed. We are now brushless. 100 kV Ghoul racing motor with a 120 amp Hobby Wing ESC. It's doing pretty well. I do have plans to update that as well, but that's later. So let's start with this one. So we've got a T-Bone Racing basher bumper with the wheelie bar. Got both of them. That's T-Bone Racing. So we can turn around here, and we've got some Hobby Park. These are 4.72 inch crawler tires, so they're quite rubbery, quite soft. They grip quite well. I've got some Proline dual stage crawler foams in these as well, so we're going to see how it does. I've got some 2.2 true bead lock. We got 8 screws around the front, 8 in the back. So they also hold a little bit of air, which is kind of nice. Gives us a little bit of cushion when we jump it and flip it and things like that. So also, we'll come back here. Can we get in there a little bit? You might be able to see in there, I've got 20 millimeter hub extensions. So what that means is we've got 40 more millimeters wider total. Also, you can see in here, one of my other updates is we went with a CV style axle, which is this. It's one piece. They seem pretty decent, so we're going to test them out. I have not tested this yet. As you can see, it's nice and clean. So this is the old style that I was using. Just a dog bone and hub set. That slides in there to give you the same effect of the articulation. But these CV actually have way better articulation. This does not come apart, which I found is the cause for a lot of bent dog bones. Is it will pop out of that hub and it'll hit the side of this and bend. So I'm pretty stoked about those. I'm excited to try them out. Now you can see that they are a little bit thinner, but I think the fact that they won't pop out is going to make the biggest difference. I don't think that the thickness is really going to. It may, but so got a posi locked rear diff. So redcat doesn't sell one for the volcano for some reason. If somebody from redcat is watching this, maybe think about that. But I locked up my differential. Okay, I gotta back up. I could be wrong on that. I have searched and searched and searched for a locked spool that will fit my truck, and I have not found one. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Okay, so we've got a locked diff in the back. In the front, to try and keep some of my steering, we went with a limited. But it takes a little bit of pressure to get those to spin. So that's good. That should give me a lot better launch, straighter launch. Be able to utilize that wheelie bar there. Okay, so that's the outside upgrades here. There's the front bumper there. Also T-Bone Racing. The basher bumper. I think they're pretty nice. I thought they were metal when I was first looking at them, and I obviously didn't read close enough. They're not metal, but they are a pretty heavy-duty plastic and or some kind of composite. they seem pretty stout, so we're going to give them a try and see what happens. And they were actually really reasonably priced, and so was the wheelie bar for the back. So there's the front there. All right, so let's take the top off here. Just to kind of give you an idea of the whole sticker collage here. This was a somewhat pre-done body. This is just the redcat body. It's not Ford, but I had some Ford decals and I'm a Ford guy, so it's a Ford. But all the blue and silver and black, like the tribal flames, that was all there. All the decals I did. So I'll see if I can make a slideshow of some still shots I took, if anybody's interested. Nobody probably wants to look at it quite as much as I do, but that's okay. Okay, so here we go. Starting the front. We got some Boom Racing. These are the Boom Racing Boomerang Type G remote piggyback shocks with the silicone hose connection. Comes with the brackets to bracket them together. You can also, these are remote, so you don't have to use a bracket, you can mount it elsewhere. It actually comes with some zip ties. If you wanted to zip tie it to your frame up here somewhere, your options are open there. So you can see everything, all the chassis and suspension and steering is all aluminum. That's been done for a little while. The major upgrades this time were the tires. We widened it. Then we got the shocks here. So these things are really nice. I was a little hesitant to get these ones because they're not cheap. I'll just say that. So, and there's 8 shocks on this truck, so it'll add up pretty quick. Alright, so I'll put it on the side here. We've got our Hobby Wing ESC, our Gold Racing motor here. I did add this heat sink with a fan. This thing's kind of cool. You can't see it as well on the video, obviously, but it's nice and low profile. Tried to keep everything as clean as possible on this overhaul. So everything is screwed down. So minus breaking something, nothing should be flopping around. We've got our on-off switch here, as I'm sure you can tell. And we've got our little black box. So inside there is all my receiver, which is not waterproof. I actually went with a capacitor pack this time. So I've got a 4 capacitor pack here, and it is this one. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you're interested. But I really am curious to see how that does. Like I said, I haven't really tested this. I tested it a small amount in my living room, but I didn't get much runtime there. So we're going to see how it does. But everything's buttoned up there real nice. Like I said, I tried to keep everything just as clean as possible. We do have a steel drive shaft upgrade from the purple aluminum, which if it was blue and kind of matched my other aluminum, that wouldn't be that bad, but I'm really not fond of the purple. So, but I thought that that nice chrome steel one looked nice. So there we go, some close-up shots for the tech geeks. These piggyback shocks are just awesome in my mind. They're just so cool. I can't wait to go run this thing. Okay, so I think I covered everything. We locked up the diff on the back. We tightened up the diff basically on the front, gave it a limited slip. Went with the CV axle, CV style axles. We widened it, aluminum wheels, way more tire, way less wheel. Let's see if I got one of the stock wheels here. So here is a stock wheel. Kind of a low profile tire with a lot bigger wheel. So these wheels wouldn't work without the 20 millimeter extensions because your screws on the back side of the beadlock actually hit the H-arms. So I actually went, at first I tried 15 millimeter, kind of went and tried to go mild, I guess you could say. But they were actually not quite enough. So I had to go with the 20 millimeter, and I'm kind of glad I did because it is nice and fat footprint. I'm going to scoot it up to see how fat it is. So yeah. One more thing I did is I dropped the pinion gear from the stock 17 tooth pinion, 64 tooth spur gear. I dropped the pinion down to a 15 because these wheels are just a tiny bit taller than the stock wheels, and they grip way better. So I figured I'd probably better gear it down a little bit and give it a little bit more torque so that it can spin everything without being too hard on the motor. So I think that covers everything. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is the battery straps here. You can kind of see in there. That is a washer and a pound rivet. It actually worked quite nicely. A friend of mine showed me those. I found them in a leather working shop along with Kydex, which anybody who's worked with Kydex knows that it's pretty tough, pretty easy to work with, which is cool for this kind of stuff. So I think that's it. It's time for me to go run this. I have to.